Welcome to another episode of the Predators official podcast, and we've made it. Opening week has arrived. The Nashville Predators announcing their final roster ahead of opening night. Luke Evangelista, he's back in Smashville. Joachim Kemell's exclamation point to end the preseason. We'll have an interview with Predators defenseman Brady Skjei, our Big E awesome person of the week as well, and so much more coming up. It's the POP. Here we go. Well, friends, as we record this on Tuesday, October the 7th, I don't know about y'all, but I've been smiling all day. This is one of the biggest reasons why October is my favorite month out of the 12. NHL opening week has finally arrived. We've made it. Hockey is back.
Huge. It's that time of year, and we get to start it with two home games. Thursday night home opener against the Jackets. Saturday night in Smashville against the Utah Mammoth in the first ever Ice Age rivalry with the renamed division rival. Kara, I mean, this schedule's just served up on a silver platter. 2 games at home to get the excitement going again, then a fun road trip for the crew. This is going to be an awesome way to start the season with some fresh faces in Smashville.
Yeah, I always feel excited when they get to start the season at home in Smashville. I feel like it just brings the passion and a new energy. And not to make this podcast about myself, but guys, I'm pretty excited going into my 9th season for it to kick off on October 9th. I feel like, hey, let's start like something 9s. Like, let's get Phil going early, right? Like, let's just roll out the 9s.
I like that. Season 10 for me. Colton Sissons is no longer here, but we'll get a new 10 at some point. Max, what season is this for you?
Season 4 in my full on-air capacity, so we'll go with 4. All right. Shout out to Ryan Ellis, who was here this week.
Shout out to Ryan Ellis. A lot of
experience.
Yeah. Who was working one-on-one on the ice with Luke Evangelista, and we're definitely get into that because, guys, number 77 is back.
He is back. Luke Evangelista. That was the big news, the one we were all waiting for, right? Signs a 2-year, $6 million contract on Saturday. He was back at practice on Monday. It was great to see him out there. He scored a number of goals, Max. You tweeted some clips. He was certainly flying out there. Didn't look like he was someone who hadn't practiced all through training camp. Of course, he had been on the ice working with some other folks. But, Max, it was certainly a great start at practice for him getting back on the ice.
Yeah, there were a couple of moments, Brooks, especially in the first round of drills when there was some back checking going on and things like that, where he looked like he was shot out of a cannon. He really looked like he had some extra juice. And I mean, that makes sense. He had that first practice adrenaline rush that nobody else at that point in training camp was having. So I think that's exactly what you want to see. You want him to be here and be ready to work and make up for lost time. And he wasn't in every drill. He was not in the power play drills. Joachim Kemell took his place in those. Evangelista and Kemell did switch off in the even strength lines. Evangelista is waiting for immigration clearance after the contract goes through. We're not exactly sure on timing with that, so we're not sure which of those guys is going to play on Thursday, but it seems like Evangelista is back. He's in great spirits, and I would say, Brooks, based on what we heard yesterday from especially Evangelista, but what it sounds like coming from the front office as well, doesn't really seem like there's any ill will coming out of this, despite the fact that it took so long.
Yeah, no, Luke said as much on Monday as he practiced and saying, simply, it is what it is. What happened, happened. He's excited to move on, and he's ready to get back and help the team in whichever way he can this season. And I really like this quote from him, Max. You touched on it, like, the amount of energy he had was maybe a little bit more than everybody else that has already been doing this for 3 weeks. But he just touched on being back with the team, the fresh energy he felt as someone who has not been with them through training camp. We've talked so much about the different atmosphere, the different vibe around the team. He sensed it as well. Here's what he had to say after practice on Monday.
I just think going back to last year, I think we needed a reset. It was, it had dragged on, and we had been out of the race for a while, and it's not the same energy and atmosphere when you're not playing competitive games, late in the last month or two of the season, and kind of just that fresh start. I think that's what that energy is kind of all about, and we're right back in the race again now. We have we're not eliminated from playoffs. a good start is going to be really important for us to, if you go back to last year, we had a slow start and, you're out of it before you know it. So just bring that energy right off the bat and, being competitive.
So, Max, as you mentioned, Evangelista listed as non-rosters. He awaits immigration, but for the first time this season, the team really feels complete heading into opening night. And we now know the final roster. Those were due on Monday as well. And perhaps the biggest name, the biggest note to mention from this, it wasn't really a surprise because of the way training camp has gone and how we've seen him play. But Max and Kara, Brady Martin, the number 5 overall pick in the 25 NHL draft, he has made the team, and not only made the team, but it looks like he might be starting opening night potentially as the number 1 center for the Nashville Predators.
I think we were all excited to have Brady Martin here, but I don't think anybody could have truly predicted this to happen. He's 18 years old. He's playing on a line with Ryan O'Reilly and Philip Forsberg. And you guys, you wonder what's going through his mind right now. We are recording here on Tuesday the 7th. We're 48 hours away. Can you imagine being in his shoes where a year ago you were playing in the OHL? Now you're starting in the NHL on opening night. What do you think his mindset is right now?
Well, the craziest part, thinking about what he was doing a year ago right now, he wasn't even going to be a first-round pick. He was a point every other game in the OHL in his first year in the Sioux. He was not a big-name prospect. And now all of a sudden, here he is playing top-line center with the leading scorer in franchise history and one of the most respected veteran centers in the NHL, moving to the wing so that he can play center, and those guys are going to share face-off duties. It's unbelievable to think about. And I think he has kept it so simple mentally. And I think that's the only reason that this has worked. If he was an overthinker, I don't think he would have had any success in camp. But the reason why his game works in preseason at the NHL level, he knows exactly where to go. It's instinctual. He makes the simple play. He makes give and goes. He makes short passes. He creates scoring chances. And occasionally he'll pull out that really creative move, but only when it's necessitated and only when it's safe. And I think the fact that he hasn't overthought things is why this has worked out to him. And I think that's his personality off the ice too, Brooks, as we continue to get to know him quickly.
No, absolutely. And Andrew Burnett mentioned as much on Monday, saying that, one, yes, we're still getting to know the player, even though you've seen him in some preseason games, you've seen him throughout training camp. Of course, he is 18. Of course, he's only been a member of this organization for 3 months now? And Max, the trajectory, as you said, to go from not an unknown, but someone who was certainly not projected to be in the top 5 to not only being drafted in that position, but to make the team. I'll admit it. When you pick someone that high in the draft, unless they've really got it, right? Like Matthew Schaefer, the number 1 pick, he's made the opening night roster for the Islanders. That's not a surprise. I don't know that anybody in the organization would have looked at Brady Martin on draft night and said he's going to make the opening night roster. And that's not a slight against Brady Martin. That's just not how it usually works in hockey. We look at, football's the big one that comes to mind. And I think that's always important to remind folks that, in the NFL, if you're picked number 5 overall, you're making the team. Like, that's just how it works. Hockey, unless you're a protege and a superstar that's coming down the line, you might not make it on opening night. But as you've said, the wherewithal that Brady Martin has, the maturity as an 18-year-old, the ability to think the game with Nashville's top players, not only offensively, but defensively. I keep going back to what Barry Trotz has said. For an 18-year-old, most 18-year-olds, they might see the play, but they don't execute the play. Brady Martin not only sees what's going on, but he makes the right decision, which a lot of guys, you simply need more development, more maturity to get to that point. Brady Martin's got that. And I think it's important to note that we're also not going to sit here and say that he's going to be here for 82 games, and we'll touch on what that looks like in a moment. But the fact that he's here on opening night, and as you said, playing with Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly, which for an 18-year-old, like, that's a big deal. Not that I was about to be a professional athlete when I was 18 years old. I was not. I know It's hard to believe, but I can't imagine being 18 and playing with a couple of guys that you have watched on television your entire life And all of a sudden, you're taking passes from, as you said, Max, the franchise's all-time leading scorer on one side, a Conn Smythe Trophy winner on another side. What a mind-boggling experience, and what an amazing year that Brady Martin has that is culminating at this point with what we expect will be a debut on opening night.
Well, that's exactly it, Brooks. And so many times we've seen some of these young guys come up and they get almost a little bit starstruck on the ice when you're taking on players. You look at going up and you take on a Sidney Crosby or something in your first game. But that stood out to Bruno, especially in that Carolina game. He said he wanted to get in that faceoff circle. He was going up against Aho. He didn't have any fear of Stahl. He seemed like he was really comfortable out there. And I know Brady Martin said he had taken a little bit of advice from Ryan O'Reilly, getting some tips from Factor. And he said Factor would just say a few small tidbits here and there, a few details of the game. And he's really taken that into consideration. And I think that's what's allowed him to be so successful up to this point.
100%. And so we've mentioned what it kind of looks like, where he's going to play, what we've seen from Brady Martin so far. And the biggest question at this point is, how long will he be here? And we've seen this happen before in other situations. I remember back in the day, it was Samuel Girard was here in Nashville. We saw this situation with him. Shout out to Sammy G. But so with Brady Martin, he's an 18-year-old. He's got his entry-level contract. He can stay for up through 9 games before beginning the first year of that entry-level deal. And we've seen this again, time and time throughout the league, is that teams will give their top guys, their top picks, top prospects, an opportunity to start the season. If it works, great. If you want to keep him the whole season, like if Brady Martin is up here and he's producing, don't send him back. But if he's not quite there, if you give him that 9-game test, and either option is certainly possible, but if you determine that this just isn't the time, that he would be better developed by going back to junior and starring there, then that's the decision you make. So, but again, will be really fascinating, Max, to see through these first 3, 4, 5, 9, however many games Brady Martin actually gets. What does he look like? Is he ready? We think he's ready. He's at least ready to start on opening night. Is he ready to do it consistently every other night over the course of a whole season? That, in turn, becomes the biggest question.
Well, the big thing to remember too, Brooks, is it's 9 games played. It's not 9 team games. So he's probably not going to play in every game that he's on the NHL roster for. Mm-hmm. Don't revolt if Brady Martin is a healthy scratch, especially when Luke Evangelista or Matt Wood is available to return. There's competition between these 4 young right shots who have had very different paths to being on the roster to start the camp. Brady Martin, the rookie, the first-year pro right out of the draft. Joachim Kimmel breaks camp with the big club for the first time. Matt Wood still almost led the entire league in preseason points despite only playing in 2 games. And then you got Evangelista, who wasn't in training camp. And you got to remember, he's still a young player, too. He's still only 23. So these guys are all fighting for 2 spots, 4 of them for 2 spots as of now. And there's a lot of different options going different ways with all these guys. And it probably would be beneficial for Martin to sit a game or 2 as he gets his feet wet in the NHL, and as the Preds have a pretty condensed schedule over these first few weeks and probably want to give different guys different looks if they can. So that's another weapon you have. I mean, he can play 9 games, but he can be here for the whole month of October. He can be here as long as you want. And I don't think it's out of the question if he excels as a line mate, especially alongside Philip Forsberg. I don't think it's out of the question that he doesn't go back to the Sioux, but his play will dictate that.
You also wonder too, Brooks, how much is the staff going to be shuffling the lines to start? With putting Brady Martin at center, you move Ryan O'Reilly to the wing. He said he's still getting comfortable in that position. He's been the top line center. So you kind of wonder, obviously he's a player that he can move over. We've seen Stamkos have to move from center to wing, back to center. We've seen some adjustments being made. But if that doesn't start to work, do you feel like then you have to move Ryan back to that center position, move somebody else up on the wing, and then you kind of wonder, where do we go from here?
Exactly. And you mentioned the potential for O'Reilly to maybe do that. That's a super easy move for someone who's done it his entire career, played that center ice position. And I also think, and we kind of touched on this last episode as well, with a younger guy like Brady Martin, is that someone that you want on your 4th line? Probably not. it's a situation of a player of this caliber. You probably want them on your first couple of lines. And if they're not able to crack through that spot in the lineup, if they're not able to get those minutes, you're not going to bury them on the fourth line. So that's a great point too, Kara. Is he able to not only play with those guys, but play consistently top line minutes that you want someone in that trio to be able to perform at that level? And if not, then as we said, you've got other decisions to make. But it's a good problem to have. We've talked about that all through camp. You want these hard decisions. And the fact that these young guys have pushed all the way to the point where a number of them have made this opening night roster, really good problem to have, not only now, but it looks great for the future of the organization. And we've mentioned Joachim Kemmel as well, making the team for the first time out of training camp. And Max, my goodness, did he ever put the exclamation point on Saturday afternoon saying, hey, I'd like to make this team, and here's what I'm going to do to prove it.
If that was not a roster-making moment, then there is no such thing as a roster-making moment, not just in hockey, but in any sport. And Joachim Kemmel had a solid camp. He had proven that he was in contention for one of those top 2 right wing spots on opening night, especially after Matt Wood got hurt, especially with Luke Evangelista absent. But man, did he grab that spot on opening night in 3-on-3 overtime of the preseason finale. The biggest hit I've ever seen in person in hockey against the other team's best player, Andrei Svechnikov, just coasting around 3-on-3, thinking it was pond hockey 3-on-3. Joachim Kemmel was playing NHL Hits 2003 3-on-3 and just absolutely destroyed Mr. Svechnikov, sat him down, drew a retaliatory penalty after a clean hit, and then after the first group of 4 on the power play couldn't get it done, he won it with an 88-mile-an-hour one-timer laser from his spot at the left circle. And my God, did we just see Joachim Kemmel grow into an NHLer right before our eyes there in OT. Unreal.
We really did. And it's so funny to hear us talk about it. And we'll hear Ryan O'Reilly talk about it in a second. But here's Joachim Kemmel on his effort in overtime. He makes it sound so simple. Take a listen.
I mean, it's just a part of me. I like to play hard and I like to hit. And I mean, that was a good time. Like, I don't know what to say. Good hit, good goal. I like to shoot, so I hit the net. So I can score sometimes also.
You don't see a lot of hits like that in the open ice. How did you kind of line that one up? Did you just see him coming over the middle there?
I mean, it was just perfect. I kind of shed him, idle him, and just got to the middle straight at me, so.
What kind of chirps did you get back, if any?
Not much, not much. It was the Finnish guy, Aho. He came after me, so I knew, like, can't say nothing. I just can't say nothing, but yeah, he gave me a couple of slashes and nothing much.
I love the way he talks about it, Brooks, and I got a chance to just talk to him without recording the interview after practice on Monday about it, and just you saw a little bit of it there. He doesn't want everybody to kind of see like the real heart behind it, I think, because he wants to be stoic. I'm still trying to make the team guy, but there's a lot of pride in that hit and who it was against and how it won the game and how much attention it got. And I think that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see these guys developing their edge. And I think Kemmel, after 2 full seasons in the AHL, it's time. It's really time for him to start showing it with the big club. And I think that was a massive first stride towards that. And that really helps him both on the ice and mentally too.
So the rookie didn't want to get too excited about it, but Ryan O'Reilly didn't mind making a comment.
Not even just overtime alone. That's one of the harder hits I've seen in hockey. But yeah, in a 3-on-3 overtime, you never really see that. That was pretty special. I feel like you could feel the building, everyone, the bench, just the excitement that happened. And obviously he seals it off with an unbelievable shot too. But yeah, that was that fired everyone up. That was great.
So you hear O'Reilly there say not only the biggest hit in 3-on-3 overtime he's ever seen, but one of the biggest hits ever, as you mentioned, Max. I think in my mind, like after the game, we were thinking, I mean, when does this happen in overtime? And not just overtime. I love that people were like, no, that's like one of the bigger hits I've seen anywhere in recent memory. It was pretty impressive, Kara. And again, we talk about a rookie trying to make an impact, make a statement. The physical part of his game especially That's something that has really been on display, not only in the rookie tournament in Tampa, but again, you talk about an exclamation point. That was exactly what we saw out of Kemmel and another young gun who has made this opening night roster.
I know it's going to be viral when I see Spit and Chicklets and some of the other podcasts tweeting my friend Max here, crediting Max for posting the video. It just has gone viral. I think everybody has said that. They felt like that might be the biggest hit of the season. I mean, what more can we expect from Joakim coming up? And, guys, I'm really excited for this season to get started. And it goes back to so many words that we've heard the players say. Good energy at camp, fresh energy at camp. But the biggest thing was Luke Evangelista said that at the end of last season, he felt like it was Groundhog Day, that they were out of it. And every day felt the same. But he said, hey, starting this year off, we're right back in it. And Brian O'Reilly said, we got to set the tone early. We have to get to our game. We have to get to our identity. And I think that hit alone, that's what we're going to see to start this season.
Well, two more guys who are potential tone setters who will be joining Joakim Kimmel and Brady Martin on their first ever NHL opening night rosters. Fourth line winger Ozzy Weisblatt, who beat out Zach LaRue for that final spot. He scored a goal in preseason. He's a great fit alongside Michael McCarron and Cole Smith, and we're excited to see Ozzy get some extended run. He played in 5 games last season, but never more than 2 in a row in the NHL. So we will expect him to get some extended run at the beginning of the season. Congrats to Ozzy on making it. He certainly deserves it, and that's a savvy pickup by the Preds. If you look back at where Ozzy Weisblatt came from, the Sharks picked him in the first round. And 2 seasons ago, they basically said, we don't want this guy anymore. Their AHL team was awful. They loaned him from their AHL team to the Admirals for the playoffs 2 springs ago. Then the Preds said, we like this guy. We want him. They traded Igor Afanasiev for him, who wasn't in the Preds' plans anymore, ended up going back to the KHL. And now here's Weisblatt, an opening night guy. And on the defensive side of things, Spencer Stastny makes his first opening night roster. And he's played a lot for the Preds over the past 3 seasons since he was first called up, but it's his first opening night. And we've talked a lot about how Stastny opened up over the summer about his battle with depression and anxiety. And I loved what you said, Kara. Andrew Brunette just loves to see Spencer Stastny smiling. Yeah. And he has been smiling quite a bit in training camp. He has played well, and he and Justin Barron have been the third pair for a couple weeks now. And I think that really is a pair with upside. So we'll see how it goes for 2 guys who both will be going through their first gold walk as a Pred on Thursday.
I want to mention quickly, too, on Zach LaRue. Andrew Brunette was asked on Monday, what was kind of the feeling, what was the behind the decision-making to assign LaRue to Milwaukee? Because that was a bit of a surprise. A guy who was here predominantly all season. He was called up in November and never really looked back. Had a great run as a rookie with the Predators. And Andrew Brunette basically said, Zach LaRue is going to be here at some point. He's an important piece, and he emphasized LaRue did not have a poor camp. The competition is simply high. And he went on to mention Brady Martin, Matthew Wood, Kemmel, Reed Schaefer. We just talked about how Ozzy Weisblatt, similar position there. Camp was really competitive, and there were some hard decisions, and even though they're hard, they're great for the organization, for the young depth of that nature. So Zach LaRue will be back up here at some point. He'll go down to Milwaukee, play some big minutes, be in all situations, and we would certainly expect to see him back in Nashville at some point, as well as Tanner Molendijk, someone else who we thought maybe could have a chance this season. He got hurt during rookie camp, did not help his chances, certainly having to deal with an injury. Got in a couple of preseason games, but ultimately ends up starting the season in Milwaukee. So you've touched on lines and pairings as well. We've continued to see the Bunting, Hall, and Marchessault line together, and we'll touch more on them a little bit later on in the episode. And then Smith, McCarron, and Weisblatt on that 4th line. We've mentioned Brady Martin between Forsberg and O'Reilly. Fedor Svechkov between Steven Stamkos and Evangelista and Kemmel rotating in on Monday. And then on the back end, Adam Wilsby, because Nick Hague starting the season on injured reserve 2 to 3 weeks away, hopefully with that upper body injury. So it's Roman Josi and Adam Wilsby. Brady Skjei, Nick Perbix have been together since day 1 of training camp. Spencer Stastny and Justin Barron, Nick Blankenberg, the extra defenseman there as it looks to start on opening night, and Matthew Wood, lower body, still week to week. He also starts the season on injured reserve. So that's your opening night roster for the Nashville Predators. I think a lot of those names were probably predictable. A few maybe not so, but that's the fun of training camp is what is this going to look like in 2.5 weeks? Kara, we finally have our answer.
I'm excited. Let's get it rolling.
Two more shout outs I want to give. It seemed like such a foregone conclusion the whole fall that he was going to make the team. But Fedor Svechkov, first NHL opening night. I mean, nothing for Svech is ever going to go under the radar, but we kind of knew he was going to make the team the whole time as the second center, and he did everything he needed to in camp to do that. So looking forward to seeing Svech out there at the Gold Walk on Thursday, maybe showing off with some nice clothes. We'll see what Svech is up to, and maybe a holographic stick or a holographic suit to match his white stick could be out there.
That's what we just had to bring up, his white stick. I think we may have missed it on the last episode, but he said that he felt it in his soul. There you go.
Yeah.
When you feel it in your soul, you got to do it.
You got to do it. You got to go with it.
The last one, it'll also be the first Preds opening night for Nick Blankenburg, who's probably going to start the season as the 7th defenseman. So I don't think he'll play on opening night against his former team, the Blue Jackets, but it was the right move by the Preds to keep 7. And we know we will be seeing a lot of Nick Blankenburg, who continues to show up and continues to do his thing and continues to be a reliable right side D for the Preds. And we are glad he is still here and glad he is breaking camp with the big club.
And what do we say with Nick Blankenburg? Do your best and block out the rest. Up next, we'll chat with Predators defenseman Brady Skjei. You're listening to the Predators official podcast on ESPN 1025 The Game and YouTube.
Welcome back to the Predators official podcast on Preds YouTube, your favorite podcast platform, and ESPN 1025 The Game. My name is Max Hers from Preds Radio, joined by Brooks Bratten from NashvillePredators.com. And our third player guest of the season, Predators defenseman Brady Skjei, is here. Brady, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. We're here at Centennial as we record this on opening night eve. Plenty to touch on there. But before we get to that, how was the summer? This is like first day back at school. Everybody's asking how the summer break was. What did summer look like for Brady Skjei?
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, a little longer than we wanted, but was able to go over and play in the World Championships with Team USA, which was a ton of fun. Got to win gold there with Macker and Law and Kelts and Pete. So that was a ton of fun to start off the summer and kind of end the hockey-wise summer on a high note. And then just back in Minnesota, played some golf, had some weddings, and worked out and skated. So kind of the same every summer, I feel like.
That's a hockey summer in a nutshell, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And one other thing that changed up your summer for you, you and your family are expecting a baby coming up here later this month. What has baby watch been like, and can we do a gender reveal on the POP, or is it a secret?
No, it's a boy. We know that. Yeah, we're super excited. My wife's feeling great right now. We're expecting at the end of the month, and it'll be our first. So we're super excited. We got the nursery all set up. I was hanging the Nanit video camera yesterday, so got all that dialed in. So we're ready for him to arrive.
Amazing. Well, you and I as well have had many a conversation in the locker room about Dave Matthews and things of that nature. I know you're a music guy, at least from the 90s, but did you see any shows this summer, and what are you listening to now?
I don't know if I saw. Well, at the end of the season, we went and saw Darius and Friends. I think that was towards the end of the year. Darius and Friends at the Ryman. I think that maybe was the last live show I've been to. But that was a ton of fun. I love Darius Rucker, Hootie, all those 90s, that 90s music I really enjoy. So yeah, I think that was the only show I've seen in a while. And then what was the second part of that question?
What are you listening to now?
Listening to now.
Straight 90s?
No, I'm kind of all over the map. I listen to 90s. I listen to country. I listen to some rap sometimes. Yesterday I was in the car with my wife, so we were listening to the show, Taylor Swift. What's the album called?
Oh, Life of a Showgirl.
Life of a
Yeah.
Showgirl. So we were listening to that. So I'm all over the map when it comes to music. I kind of like all different kinds.
Preds defenseman Brady Skjei is our guest here on the POP. Brady, you have had a truly consistent D partner throughout all of training camp, all of preseason, and leading into opening night. New Preds defenseman Nick Perbix has been your partner on the second pair. You guys have a lot in common. You're both from Minnesota. You both went to college in Minnesota. You're pretty close in age, but you said you'd never met before this season. What's it been like getting to know somebody who's your new D partner, who you really have a ton in common with?
Yeah, it's been great. Shockingly, we never met before coming here. I feel like Minnesota's a pretty small world, and the fact we haven't met was kind of crazy. But like you said, we have so much in common and so many mutual friends. I feel like you talk about anything and you kind of know someone who knows someone. So it's been very easy to get to know him, and he's such a great guy and easy to talk to. And it's been great on the ice too. I think our games can complement each other a lot, and we're obviously really excited to have him on the team and the other guys. Obviously, Hager with the injuries is a bummer, but Eric and some of the young guys coming in. But yeah, Perbs has been great, and we're gonna have to play good and be a good solid D pair for that second D pair.
You mentioned how you guys complement each other on the ice, and we've seen it in training camp. I think both you guys have had great camps. His game is so simple, and he said somebody on his college team told him at one point when he was playing at St. Cloud State, it looks like he's playing hockey while sitting back on the couch and putting his feet up, which I feel like is the most accurate way to describe it. Keeping that in mind, how would you describe the way you hope to complement him as, I guess, the more mobile and less boring partner on the pair, if we're going to put it that way?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he is super simple, and I feel like I've played with guys like that in the past. The first guy that comes to mind is Brett Pesce in Carolina. When I played with him, he was obviously just rock solid defensively and just an all-around unbelievable player. But I feel like that maybe allows me to maybe get up in the play a little more and try to add to some offense and use my skating to my advantage. So I think, like I said, I feel like he is simple, but he makes the right plays at the right time, and obviously he can add some offense as well. So just getting that feel for each other and kind of reading off each other when to go, when to stay back. I want him to be able to get up in the offense as well, obviously, and let me, play defense and stay back. So it's just that getting familiar with each other, and I think through this camp has been, it's been great, and we just kind of kept getting better and better as the camp's gone on. So I'm just really excited for tomorrow night and to get this season going.
Well, Brady, not only a new defense partner for you, but another new face, another Brady, we have found out will make his NHL debut on Thursday against Columbus. Between that and some of the other younger guys that have pushed and have now made roster spots, what's kind of that inflection of the youthful energy? We've heard some of your teammates talk about it, and that their excitement kind of feeds off of everybody and it makes everybody better. How have you seen that through camp?
Yeah, it does. I mean, obviously it's awesome to see a kid that just got drafted step in and have an amazing camp and fit right in at 18 years old. I know when I was 18, I would definitely not be ready to step in and fill the shoes that he's filling right now. So it brings a lot to the locker room. Obviously, it's crazy to think that even me, I'm 13 years older than him, which is just wild to think. So we come from different times, but just to have that youthful energy, I think we do a good job as a team with everyone involved to bring energy every day. But just to have those young guys that maybe on days off there or on practice days or just any days in general, just to bring a little bit of life to the locker room is a ton of fun. And I think Brady will be one of those guys for sure.
Well, Brady, we were talking about it during the preseason game against the Hurricanes. Jordan Stahl has been in the NHL longer than Brady Martin has been alive, and they're playing against each other. So
that's unbelievable. Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of those this year for Brady Martin.
Yes, there will be.
18 and a half years old. Brady Skjei, we're talking to, the elder statesman of the Brady Bunch here on the Preds. Going into your second season with the team, What has the new D zone structure been like for you, and how do you anticipate that helping your game alongside the comfort of being in the same place for a second year?
Yeah, I think we've gotten way better throughout the camp, and I think it's just an emphasis on still being aggressive, making the right reads at the right time, letting Juice see the puck, all of that. And then for me personally, I think I just feel way more comfortable coming in this year. Obviously, last year it's your first year. You're learning the system, you're learning the guys, learning the coaches. It's just a lot on your plate. So definitely this year, I have way more confidence and I'm way more comfortable in the system, and just throughout this whole camp, it's been way better, and trying to lead and help younger guys as well. So I think it's been great so far, and we just need to keep building on that and keep carrying that into the season, because that's going to be a huge part of our team's success, is that D zone and shutting down the other team.
Brady, we'll finish on this, and it's certainly fair to say that at this time of the year, all 32 teams are feeling pretty good about themselves. But it really feels like there is legitimate reason for optimism in this room right now. I know everybody's done talking about last year. Everybody's excited to get going. What are you looking forward to most now as this new season begins and there's one more sleep until opening night here?
Yeah, since last year ended, I think everyone's just been itching to get back to starting over and having a fresh slate. I know personally for me, it's just I've been itching to get back and playing and trying to prove people wrong. So it's we're obviously super excited, and it's going to be a challenge. There's going to be ups and downs, but I think the way the locker room feels right now, the energy in the room, with the players that we have, there's no reason why we can't be one of the teams at the end of the year to be playing for the Stanley Cup. So that's our goal, is obviously to make the playoffs, and it's gonna be tough. It always is, but we believe that we have the players to do that in the locker room and the coaching staff and everything. So ready to get started and pumped for tomorrow night.
Love it. What a spot to end it. Brady Skjei, thanks so much for joining us.
No problem, guys. Thank you.
Back with more after this on the Predators Official Podcast.
Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast. I'm Kara Hammer, along with Brooks Bratten and Max Herz. And guys, we've been talking about it all podcast. The season is getting ready to start on Thursday night as we record here on Tuesday, but I'm curious. So many things to look forward to. I'll start with you, Brooks. What stands out to you? What excites you about getting this season started?
Well, other than just the simple fact of erasing the past and looking ahead to the future, the Predators players won't really talk about last season. They're kind of done with that. I'll say it though. Like, they all know in the back of their minds what happened. And every single person individually and then collectively can't wait to erase those memories. I like what Andrew Brunette has said about putting the boat back in the water, and everybody's holding onto their paddle and they're all paddling in the same direction. All the oars are in, and they're ready to go for opening night. And he has also mentioned, and we've seen these three together since day one of training camp, the line of Erik Haula between Jonathan Marchessault and Michael Bunting. Andrew Brunette has said those three have driven camp. They've brought the energy, they've brought the pace. He also said they aren't usually quiet. They don't usually stop talking throughout the course of a game. And we actually had a submission, right? The loud line. Is that
The
what
loud
did
line.
Erik Haula put that out?
The loud line, yeah. Well, Michael Bunting said, when asked about the line by Russell Venozzi of Main Street Preps in an interview last week, I think it was their goal to create the loudest line possible on their team. And we certainly haven't disappointed in that area or on the ice. He added at the end.
Yep.
But yeah, those guys don't really shut up out there. And Erik Haula has really impressed me. I was not on the broadcast team when Haula was here in 2021 for one abbreviated season. And I have been really impressed with the chemistry he has immediately with Jonathan Marchessault. And those guys played together on the Golden Knights the first two seasons of NHL in Las Vegas, and they really play well together. And I think it's amazing for Marchessault. And this is the same way Bunting outlined it as well. And Marchessault talked about it in our interview with him on the podcast here last week, which everybody who didn't hear that should go back to last episode and go listen to it. But the way Marchessault put it out, he's not going to beat guys one-on-one. Haula is the quick passing distribution guy, and Bunting is going to the net to create a screen or pick up a rebound. If those guys can play the simple, short passing game, quick passing game, pucks on net, generate chances, and if nothing else, get no zone face-off for one of the top two lines to come out behind them, I think that line can be really successful this year, and they also will be quite loud doing it.
Do we just call them the hauler line? The hauler?
I think if they stick together, I like what Marchessault said in our last interview, is that I don't want to really throw out a name. I don't want to make the coaching staff give them any pressure to keep us together. But yeah, if that trio works, I mean, at the very least, I love all of the elements that you just said there, Max. And at the very least, they're probably going to make some people a little angry too, which doesn't hurt the situation. So really excited to see them. And the arrival of Baby Bunting, by the way, we were talking to him the other day, Max, about the new member of the Preds family here.
Incredible alliteration. Baby boy Bo Bunting. Welcome to Smashville. Shout out to all my Righteous Gemstone fans out there. It's like Baby Billy Bible Bonkers, but Baby boy Bo Bunting. And I love saying it. But yeah, congratulations to the Bunting family, now a family of 3. So happy for them, and really excited for Papa Mike Bunting's first full season here in Smashville.
So many things to look forward to. And I've mentioned this before, but I think one thing that's really going to stand out to kick off this season, not only here in Nashville, but around the league, is some of these guys are still on tryouts to make their Olympic roster. I mean, look at Philip Forsberg himself. Still a little bit of a tryout basis for Team Sweden. How's he going to start the year? I think we're going to see that around the league. And I have to say, I was watching the Amazon Face-Off show. Obviously, we saw Phil featured on it last season, but just the Brady Tkachuk to get it started, talking about Team USA, obviously full-blooded American right here. I'm all for Team USA to go, but just watching him talk about the 4 nations, guys, I think we're going to see things get fired up early on.
Well, that was, I mean, what a moment that was for hockey, the 4 nations, and just a lovely little precursor to the Olympics. And yeah, that's exciting to watch. We've mentioned it's Roman Josi and UC Saros have already been named, but there's some other guys that are in the running. And as you said, Kara, this is going to be a tryout for a lot of these guys to see if they have the ability to potentially represent their countries in February. And there's nothing better than best on best international hockey. And so we will be so excited to see that when February rolls around. And someone else, Max, who not going to make the Swedish roster this season more than likely, but could in the future. You want to talk about Adam Wilsby?
I think this will be a pretty exciting season for him. And everything was just cut short last year, right as we were starting to let the puns fly for Adam Wilsby. And he had moments where it was like, oh my God, the upside on this guy is through the roof. And because Nick Hague is hurt, now we get Wilsby and Josi together. There are going to be times when the 3 guys closest to the Preds goal are all going to be forwards. The way these guys are jumping around and joining the rush and playing off each other. And I think the forwards who are out there with them will be okay with that, because we know Josi has forward level skill. And I think Wilsby is going to get a chance to show that this year too. And he may not be a big goal scorer in his first NHL season, but I think he's going to be really involved offensively, and I'm really excited to see how his partnership with Josi plays out in this first few weeks of games while Nick Hague is hurt, and maybe longer. You never know.
Can I do an opening night prediction and who you think is going to score the first goal? Like, can we do that before we finish the segment here?
Let's do it. You go first, Hammer.
I think Factor. That's my guy.
Nice. I would love to see, I'm going to try to manifest it. I would love to see Brady Martin. There's just something about, your first NHL game's a big deal, but if you can put the puck in the net in your first NHL game, sometimes the stories write themselves. So for the person that has to write the game recap after the fact, I would love for that to happen. Brady Martin on opening night.
And do we see the rookie lap? Like, do we see the rookie lap on opening night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine a hot lap at 18 years old to kick off the NHL?
18 and a half. Do not shortchange him. He's young enough that we're still counting half years, Hammer. Come on.
All right. Sorry, Maxie. Who's your prediction for first goal scorer to kick off the season?
I'm going to go with the tried and true local father of 2, America's 4th line center, Michael McCarron
Woo!
early in the second period on opening night to break a scoreless tie.
All right.
Wow.
I like it.
Good call. What we're kind of all over the place in our predictions. I like that. I guess, although I guess Kara, you and I picked two people on the first line. Max is down there, but we've seen the McCarron special in the preseason already. That wraparound, that big 6'6" reach
Yeah.
coming around the net. He tried it again the other day. So anything is possible when Big Mac is out there. And by the way, let's also mention, Kara, on the FanDuel Sports Network side of things, the gang is back together.
We are all back together. We are so excited to be here. We're going to bring you 80 games this season, but we're like a family, and we're excited to keep it going, keep it rolling. And I think we'll be putting some stuff out on social and all the places that you can watch, because we're going to be on there.
Amazing. Yep, they're there. 80 games, as you said, Kara. 4 of those will be simulcast on News Channel 5, CBS, here in Nashville. So that'll be exciting as well. Get out to an even larger audience. But there's so much to come. There's so much anticipation this time of year. And we will be back in just a moment to bring you the Big E, awesome person or persons of the week. Stay tuned. You're listening and watching to the Preds Official Podcast.
Welcome back to the Predators Official Podcast as we get you ready for opening night, Thursday night at Bridgestone Arena. We invite you to come down early for the Gold Walk, where you can see all the Preds players walking in at 4 p.m., our annual opening night fun fan event. 4 o'clock at the corner of 5th and Broadway at the Bridgestone Arena Plaza. Also, please be in your seats by about 6:55 before the game. We'll be getting started early with on-ice intros as well. So if you're going to the game Thursday night, please be in your seat by 6:55 if you can at Bridgestone Arena for pregame intros. My name is Max Herz from Preds Radio, joined by Kara Hammer from Preds TV, Brooks Bratten from NashvillePredators.com. We are ready for opening night, and it is time to give out our 4th weekly award, the Big E, in honor of our friend Erin Donick, Willie Donick's wife, who we tragically lost this summer. And we are going to give it to all of you this week. Everybody who came out to Preds Fest on Saturday, everybody who was in Smashville all day long for the outdoor fan fest, and then the preseason game inside with Joakim Kimmel finishing it off with the big hit and the overtime goal. That was such a fun day. I think that is the biggest crowd we've ever had for Preds Fest. And it was a whole lot of fun out there. Lively atmosphere, everybody excited. And I think the fans now feel how the players feel. Last season is flushed, opportunities in front of us, getting that good Smashville feeling back.
And I think Brooks had an honorable mention.
Yes, I do have an honorable mention. So, story time quickly. My honorable mention is for Britt Kinchlow. She's the VP of guest services for the Preds, a day one employee. There's not many of them left, but she has been here since day one, 1998. She knows Bridgestone Arena like the back of her hand. And it was easy for her to get up to section 325 during the day on Saturday. Why did she have to do that? And why did I watch her do that? So, clumsy me. I'm on my way down to the Lexus Lounge tunnel after warmups. I'm doing a live hit on the scoreboard after warmups this season to let you know what some of the line rushes were, who to watch out for, scratches maybe, different guys out on the ice, whatever the case may be. So I'm on my way down there, and I walk from the press box, which, by the way, the press box could not be any further away from where I have to go into the Lexus Lounge tunnel, but we make it work. So I'm on my way down. I'm walking down the stairs. I think it's section 116. I like to be out in the open still. I don't take the elevator. So I'm walking down the stairs, and then I have to make my way in those first couple of rows along the glass to get to the Lexus Lounge tunnel. So warmups are still going on, and I'm climbing over a couple of chairs so as to not be in people's way. I'm trying to give them as much room to see warmups as possible. And the last little obstacle that I have, there's a couple. There's a guy and a girl sitting there, and I'm kind of lifting my legs up, doing some hip flexors, getting the stretches in to get over people, right? So I lift my leg up, and what do I do but completely kick over this guy's brand new beer It spills everywhere. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness gracious, this guy just spent so much money on this beer. Now I've ruined it. He could not have been nicer. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I will buy you a beer. I'll buy you a new one. He's like, no, it's okay. I promise it's okay. I'm like, no, it's not. I know you spent money on that. I just kicked it over. It is now rolling all over the ground, which then shout out to the people from Jana King and the ushers who came and cleaned it up for me. So I was able to get their section, their seat, their row, and I emailed a few people, including Britt, and the subject line of the email was "Help! I knocked over a guy's beer." She answered the call. Not only did she hike all the way up to 325 row J, I think it was, with a new beer for this gentleman, but she also brought a Jonathan Marchessault autographed puck. I didn't get their names. I don't know if they listen to this. I don't know if they'll ever hear this. But shout out to them for being good sports. And then shout out to Britt for helping me out. I felt so bad, but she was able to get up there, get a beer, get a puck. Those are the golden moments that we like to take care of in Smashville. I was like, I cannot kick over this guy's beer and not do something about it. So shout out to them for being good sports, and to Britt for an honorable mention for our Big E Awesome Person of the Week.
Britt Kinchelow, why are you so awesome? That definitely deserves a biggie. And I'm just going to start leaving full beers next to Brooks, hoping he knocks them over so I get some autographed Preds gear out of it.
Yeah. If you see me coming, let me kick over your beer, and you never know what'll show up in your seat later in the game.
I feel like we're going to see this as a skit when the season gets started on Fang Vision of next thing I know, there's a visiting fan and Brooks has spilled beer over him.
I like that. I like that idea a lot. As always, we are soliciting your questions and comments. Tweet them with hashtag Preds Podcast. And this week, we have a trivia question for you. And who knows, you may not even have to have your beer spilled this time to get a Preds autograph prize if you answer correctly. Now, this is one that you can look up, so please do not cheat, because it is a hard question, and I've stumped a lot of people with it already. We talked about the Preds players hoping to make the Olympics. NHLers have not been in the Olympics in 12 years, since 2014. There are only 2 current Preds players who have ever played in the Olympics. Tell us who they are in a tweet with hashtag Preds Podcast, and we will be rewarding at least one correct responder. We will say one is a pretty obvious one. One may not be as obvious. So good luck. Please don't cheat, and you will be rewarded.
It's a great question. I couldn't get it. I got the obvious one, and then the wheels started turning, and kind of disappointed in myself. But it's not as easy as you might think it is. It's a really, really great trivia question. So as Max said, use hashtag Preds Podcast. We've also gotten some comments on the video on YouTube. As we've mentioned as well, you can comment below if you're watching us on YouTube. Just a few folks who have watched who have just simply said they've enjoyed watching it, and they're so glad we're back. So thanks to them for commenting. We're glad that you're watching our smiling faces. And we're grateful for all of you for watching, for listening. It really is excited to have gotten this back up and going again. Having so much fun doing it alongside Kara and Max. And we're very appreciative for all of you who have taken the time to watch and listen thus far. And there will be so much more good content to come as we finally drop the puck on opening night.
We're back. We're back, baby. Thanks to everyone who made this episode possible. My name is Max Herz from Predators Radio. You can hear us all season long. Follow me if you want. You don't have to, at Max Herz Talks.
I'm Kara Hammer. Check us out on FanDuel all season long. We can't wait to get the coverage started on your television.
And I'm Brooks Bratten. You can follow me at Brooks Bratten on X. Read all my work on NashvillePredators.com. And Brooks Bites on Instagram.
Never!
Thank you all so much for watching, listening, subscribing. We're grateful for all of you, and we're grateful to start another Predators season with all of you as well. This is the POP on ESPN 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and YouTube. Enjoy the hockey, everyone.